If you are an international student, you have probably heard that networking is the key to success. But what does that actually look like in the trenches? My guest today, Hassaan Bukhari, didn't just network, he engineered his own opportunities. From computer science labs to the Office of International Affairs, he has mastered the staircase of student leadership. We are going to break down his exact blueprint for landing an internship during his study. Hassaan, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here. Yep. And I must say this is a really good initiative for prospective students to learn more about the university. So glad to be here.
Yep. Our purpose is to bring students, alumni to this podcast and help them how their life was during studying at Louisiana Tech, how they performed well, what struggle they faced, and how they could improve their life, their academic life, far better than what they faced during their study time. So you work at Betaflex, which is right here in Tech Point. How did you land in internship with a company that is literally steps away from your classroom?
Oh, okay. So it was around the end of my sophomore year, and it's kind of pretty interesting. The co-founder of Betaflex, I met him through one of my friends' dad. So basically, I met a friend in one of the associations I was in, and they invited me. His dad and him invited me for Thanksgiving, and on the way back, his dad was like, "Oh, I want you to meet this international student as well." And then that international student ended up actually being the co-founder of Betaflex. So basically, they used to the dad and the co-founder they worked together. So that's how I met the co-founder, and then kind of an initial interaction. So he knew I'm there, like I'm a student, but nothing too much. But then after a couple of years, I think it was with I asked the Saj as well, who has been at your podcast as well, and that he works there at Betaflex too. So I was like, I'm interested in an internship, and that's how it all came together, in a sense that I knew Saj, and I also knew the co-founder by the story that I told you. So, and that's how I kind of landed the internship. Yeah.
Okay, one question: have you been to Career Center for your resume?
Yeah. Actually, like quite a few times, because like from being an international student, like I feel like, I mean, in high school we weren't taught as much of writing resumes. They weren't even like when we were applying for universities or something, they don't really like, most of them don't really require a resume. Like I know for grad school they do sometimes, but so I didn't know as much of like how to like make a resume, or what are the main things to add to it. So I think Career Center definitely like helped me in that, and I would recommend like students here to like especially those in their early years to probably go there, and it just takes 15-20 minutes for someone to look at your resume and like kind of guide you through what the industry standard is for a resume. So yeah.
So I think you have mastered all 4 resources that we talked in my last podcast with Saj.
Okay.
That's Career Center, Professor, Mentor, and Take Point, the on-campus job hub for students to utilize their skill and see how the real world works. So can you, in your undergrad, do you have any mentor who helped you a lot?
I wouldn't say like a specific one stands out, but I would definitely say like probably Saj and Sanj definitely were mentors, not only in a sense that generically academics, but beyond that as well. And having gone through this everything already with the degree and the undergrad and stuff, I feel like was I really look up to them. So, but yeah, then it's also about, like connections and stuff that you make. Some people have like a very specific like mentor that might have guided them all the way, but then there are like some people that learned something from some people, and like in bits and pieces, right? So like I would say like mentorship is definitely something you should look up to, because like when you go through something, it's like you think that, oh, if I had a second chance, what things I could have done, like maybe changing some things. So but then obviously you can't do it again, but you can tell someone else to not make those mistakes. So in that sense, mentorship is definitely, and I think like it helped me in several places, probably. Yeah.
Right. And I think we are so close together, and in one part of my life in my undergrad,
Yeah.
you have been a good mentor for me.
Thank you.
Yes. And so I learned from you the mistake which we did, or the learning, or the formula, let's say, that work for us might be that can work for my juniors too.
Yeah.
So the way you suggested me, advised me, I also tell my juniors, hey, if you do this, it can be so helpful. It will, if you do X, then it will have impact Y.
Yeah.
So I think what we failed, we faced, struggled, and the strategy that worked for us, I love to share with my juniors and guide them. So yeah, I think we have a different, a lot of mentors that they guide in particular field. So that's, I felt.
Yeah, definitely mentorship is, I feel like, very important.
So let's talk about your 0 to value part. You started as a front desk and admission assistant, then later international student ambassador, before moving into web development.
Yeah.
How did those early non-tech jobs help you build the soft skill you use as a developer today?
Okay, so yeah, I think starting front desk was probably taught me a lot about communication, organization, like responsibility as well. So communication, I mean, in a sense that just people coming into the office with their like with whoever they want to speak to, and you're just relaying the calls if any calls come in. Maybe not something that's like I guess required to, like, but some people already have it, but like international students can always get some help from like just taking their communication skill a little bit up, just because sometimes obviously English is not our first language, and those things can come in. So in that sense it helped me. Organization, in a sense that there were like we handle like a lot of like important documents of students, so organizing them in a way like that nothing is lost, being responsible as well, in that sense, are probably like the soft skills. And then I feel like time management as well, because time management, I feel like if you ask most like college students, they'll say time management is the biggest issue. If you can nail that, then things get probably a lot easier from there. But it's difficult as well. We have a lot of things like going on, obviously, and then stacking a job over it just makes it like, so I feel like time management as well was something that was like in a non-technical sense still the soft skills, and these are very important, by the way. Soft skills are very important. You're not gonna, because no one really teaches you, especially if you're a CS or computer science student or an engineering student, maybe in engineering a little bit more, but the stereotype of computer science students is that they can't communicate. So like it's not, I'm not saying whether that's true or not, but like gaining those soft skills can be very helpful. So, and it was, at least in my experience, for me, like even non-technical jobs kind of helped me gain that.
I recently read a report, and in that, I forgot the percentage, but it was over 50% that your communication skill matters in your job. You need to have a good communication skill. So it was data from some employers how they
Yeah.
want their employee to be, and the communication skill was really at the top.
Yeah, I would
So maybe
also.
for some work it could be differ, but
Yes.
communication skill is very, very important.
I think, yeah, I mean, definitely I would agree, because okay, maybe even you look at a job that doesn't involve a lot of communication skill. Okay, like take, let's say, I don't know, I mean, in computer science, there can be jobs where you only you're as a solo working on something, but if you have to climb the ladder, you always need communication skill, because if you see the higher up people, like your directors, the executives, what are they really doing? They're like, as up you go the ladder, you delegate more, you understand the broader picture of the whole project or whatever is happening. You don't go into finer details, but you just take the broad picture, tell people what to do. Like, is more delegation when you like go higher up. And if you don't have communication skills, I don't feel like you can delegate that well as well. So as you said, I guess there might be jobs that don't require as much communication skill, but
Later.
climbing the ladder and going up through their jobs, communication will obviously come in play there.
Yeah, so we need to able to communicate our ideas and put in front of the employers or whoever,
Yeah.
our group, then we might get recognized for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So from your perspective, once again, why we need communication skill, and what do you mean by communication skill? Let's talk a little bit more about that.
yeah, so communication skill is, I mean, it's not about, I don't think it really comes to like the not broader picture of how people like say like what communication skill is, like, maybe like the accent, or like maybe if you make like I don't know, maybe grammar mistakes or whatever, like while you're speaking. I feel the main crux of communication is just like to lay your point to someone, right? Like for them to be able to understand, because that's what you need in a workplace, for the other person to understand in like your work or what you're doing. Let's say, let's go back to the computer science example. Like the developer needs to be able to communicate well of what the outcomes of the project is going to be to the product owner or like the manager, right? So, and communication is also not only verbal, it's written as well. Like it's a lot of like, maybe we kind of emphasize more on the verbal communication, but I mean, I feel written communication is really important too with
If in my work, I need that.
Yeah.
Because when I have to communicate, especially our communication is virtual, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we do Zoom meeting and we talk and solve the question in real time. But generally they contact through email, WhatsApp. And
yeah,
at that time, we have to convince them. We have to, give enough information that they understand, okay, so this is what I'm asking and this is what I got.
Exactly.
Right answer. So yes.
I mean, yeah, that's I guess the point. I guess we agree that we should be able to convey your point, correctly, because, I mean, otherwise the world doesn't work if, we can't share our ideas in like a proper manner. So, and actually when, like in the written skills, when I took the technical writing class, like that's when I realized that, okay, I mean, like, being able to write like proper in like a formal, like documented way, is something that is important too. Maybe like early on in, like, at least for computer science people, I guess you don't really do that, but then, I mean, there's always project documentation for us, so we should be able to like explain a feature of an app in like a way that, a non-technical person can understand, and things like that. So all of these things are communication. I feel like, it's something very important.
So everywhere communication, documenting, verbal, non-verbal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very important, and something I feel like, and the more technical major you are, like, you might like think that's not important, but like communication might not be important, but it is in a sense.
And yes, for students, I think one way to further improve their communication can be to engage in on-campus organization in some voluntary activities.
Yeah.
I remember it's been about a year maybe. You said that involving in an organization and handling even as any position, it really gives a good impact in your resume, especially to your employer, whoever you are employed, applying,
Yeah.
whichever company. So why do you think so? Involving in an organization that it's a great value in our profile when applying for job.
Okay, so I would put this to like how kind of America specifically like works as well. Like I've noticed, I mean, I'm sure you would have applied to like schools like universities back home, or maybe Canada, Australia, UK. Like we like generally do that. Those are, or like, you know, like if we want a education abroad, we go we look at US, UK, Australia, Canada, and you look at the application process, right? And but when you look at the US, there's a difference, and the difference is like they ask for your extracurriculars, which I have seen Australia doesn't ask as much, UK doesn't ask as much, unless you're maybe applying for a top tier school, then they might. But US generally asks for those things, and I was always curious applying that, you know, I mean, why do they ask those things? But I guess the answer is obvious, as you said, communication skill, meeting new people, like having I would say association is more like a mini work environment kind of thing. So
Working
like,
in a group, solving what
Yeah.
can be done for the organization.
exactly, yeah. Something that could, if you scale up, it would be a job, but since you're not, I guess, getting paid, and it's like a scaled down version, I would say. But you learn the same skills, but maybe you learn them like a little bit more slowly than if you were like properly working in a big organization. But tying back to like, you know, US applications, I noticed used to have this extracurricular part in it, and I was like, I mean, okay, but from what I've learned is like America puts a lot of emphasis on extracurriculars, and this doesn't only go to applications. When I came here and I was even I applied for a job, and in an interview they were like, half of the interview was more about my the associations I was in, and what I plan to do for them for in that association, than my work experience, which I would think it would be flipped. It would be more, they would ask me about my work experience than associations. But I feel like America really, you know, puts a lot of emphasis, and I feel for the better, because you learn a lot of like things from, you know, being in one. So that's one thing I always recommend. I mean, to every student, if they ask me, it's like, I'm like, just go in one association or something, you know, like, and you know, I mean, you can tell me as well, how many like organizations are on campus?
We have over 150 organizations on campus.
So many, you know, like, and if you're in College of Engineering, there's so many there too. I mean, that I can vouch for, that there are many, but I'm assuming College of Business and everyone has a lot of them too. So there's you can't even say like there's no organization to join. There's so many. So I feel like it looks good on your resume, honestly.
Yeah, so apart from communication, in organization, we can learn group work, how to work in a group. I also came to know that when you go after graduating, you work in a company, working in a group is, you should know how to work in a group, how to manage a team, and a part of work divided to each team, each member of a team, and how you can give your full effort and work in a group. That's the one thing that I learned during my communication class. We have a project and we work. So, you know, when you have a group, you are in a group, a lot of different ideas, maybe some contract to you, it comes. So you have to agree, you have to find a way which idea to choose. So it's working in a group helps you how you can manage.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So communication, group work.
And yeah, I guess group work also, if you are good at communication, that group work becomes more easier because you're able to communicate better. But all those things are something that you can't escape, right? Every workplace has pushes you into like working with people, right? There's rarely a case where you're not working with some other person. The communication and, like you mentioned, being able to work together are two things you can't really escape. So it's better to just, I guess, learn how to get better at those things, probably. So
Let's talk about the IEEE.
Mm-hmm.
You are working on the total learning architecture with IEEE.
Yeah.
Can you explain to a regular student why this is important for the future of how we learn?
Okay, so I mean, it's kind of it's difficult to, I guess, explain, but I guess we are students, so we might be able to better understand because it's in the learning realm. So the total learning architecture is basically this framework that the government is making, which, right now there are a lot of learning sources that we have. Like we can learn, let's say, on like paper, or like we have Canvas, and then we can have maybe a couple of other softwares as well, like where we learn. Maybe there's a video platform where where the professor uploads lectures and stuff. So to make sure that the data, since we have 5 or 6 or however many softwares you use, that depends, to make sure that everything is centralized, that the data is like gathering from every place and being sent to, and it's like I mean, best example is like you have an iPad, you have an iPhone, you have a Mac, right? And
Right.
they work in sync, right? So have these learning platforms be in sync with the data is what the total learning architecture's, I guess, main thing is what it's gonna do. It's a framework. What it's gonna do is like have a very, I guess, nice communication between the so many softwares that we have, learning softwares we have right now. And the idea is that if data flows well, then basically you can learn better as well. I would tie it to the Apple ecosystem example. It's just an ecosystem. They're trying to make an ecosystem.
How did you get into it?
So that was like something that at my job, like I was like told to look at. So, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's like it's led by IEEE, and then like a lot of like I feel like important people that have actually their meetings and everything is just open to all, so anyone can join and see where this technology is going.
So if I want to join the meeting, I can.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds
pretty
interesting.
much it's open, but then obviously more companies are interested and stuff. But I'm pretty sure like you can join as a student as well if you're interested. I've seen students join. Yeah, other students join.
So, Hassaan, you specialize in React and Next.js. For CS students just starting out, why should they consider learning these frameworks over others?
I wouldn't say like you would want to learn something like these two over others, but I went on early into web development in my like when I came to the university. Even a little bit before, I learned a little bit about like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all those like baseline things of web development. The React and Next.js are kind of, they are linked to, they're like a step up, but the foundation is the same. So I would say if you're in web development, then at least for the last few years, Next.js, React was there, then Next.js came, were like the languages that were the most used in web development. So I went into web dev, but if someone is not in web dev, they start, let's say, they go to like machine learning or something, then obviously I would say like you wouldn't really want to learn these things in that sense. But in the part of CS that I went, and at that time these two were like the important things to learn, and how that's why I went for them. But CS changes. That's the thing. Like, you know,
Yeah, my professor, they always keep mentioning it. It's evolution in this field in technology. It's so fast. You should keep update yourself and keep yourself open to learn new skills.
yeah. And there was this funny thing. One of my friends who's an engineer said, and basically they said that as an engineer, the basic laws are never, like Newton's law is never gonna change, right? So the whole physics based on that is not gonna change as much unless some research comes in and we make a new discovery. But on the like statistically, it's not. There's very less probability it's gonna change. But for computer science, like, I mean, obviously we have some laws that are never gonna change, but there's just so much stuff that happens, like, you know, like over the years, and especially with, I mean, AI. You can, like, you probably know more than me, but like AI is like, you know, taking that evolution in CS to like a whole different level as well. So we always say, I mean, you would agree too, that the CS people always need to be on their toes, because like there's just like every time there's just like a learning, because today I'm learning, let's say Next.js. I like in 5 years there might be something new. Next.js might be, you know,
Yeah.
like might not be the important thing. So things
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Hassaan, so let's talk about AI a little bit. How do you think we should use AI? How can we use effectively?
Well, there's, I guess, a lot of opinions on like how to use it. I would say, I guess the thing that most people would agree on is like use AI for as like a teacher, like a personal teacher. So, you know, like let's say I was taught a lecture by my professor, but I want to ask him more questions. I don't have time, or maybe he doesn't have time, or maybe his office hours I can't go to. But like imagine if I even went there, the questions I'll ask him is kind of what I should do with AI as well. Like ask questions from, you know, from the topic or whatever like thing I'm stuck on. The idea is like, don't let it, you know, just like do the whole thing for you. A professor won't do that for you, right? So use it as like a professor, whatever professor would do for you.
Things to understand, how step 1 to step 2.
Yeah, clear your concepts and stuff.
Yeah, clear your concept.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying in like a learning aspect of it, right? Then there's like if you look at the industry and automations and stuff, obviously you need AI for that. Otherwise, you're gonna just be so much behind, because AI is in many cases like making things very, very, you know, fast. And you can. I was looking the other day, like I think it was the CTO of Uber, and he was saying that they ran out of AI tokens already, like their AI budget basically. But I didn't read the whole story, but that was the headline. So
it could be because their employees are using AI a lot.
Yeah, and also that the company is like letting them, you know, like companies like right now are actually, like, obviously there are safeguards in place, so how to use it, how not to use it, but they are encouraging people to use it to the point where they're, you know, like the budget they had set is getting like exceeded. So if you look at that, then obviously you need to use AI in learning. You just need to like just imagine it's a professor and ask questions, not have it do your work. But when you look at industry, I feel like, you know, a lot of companies are moving towards where they are very reliant on like coding, especially, and stuff coming from AI. Even if you look at Google, there was this graph of like how much code is written by AI, and it was pretty high, especially for the last 5 years. It's gone very high up. So it depends on the situation you're in. So if you're in a situation where you have to learn, then I feel like you should probably just use it as like just a learning tool, not let it do your stuff. But if it's automation, then with provided safeguards are in place, you can probably use it. So
Oh, a few things are going
that's
on.
personal opinion though.
Okay. So let's say you are an employer.
Yeah.
I came here for an interview. You can assume any company, whatever you like. So right now I came to know, as you mentioned, saying the CEO, CTO of Uber,
Yeah.
they are giving access to their employee use AI.
Mm-hmm.
So just consider you are an employer and I came for the interview to get job in your company.
Yeah.
So how do you ask to me that what AI skills I have and how should I respond to that? Because I think AI skill is very important according to the situation that I mentioned here. I think we need AI skill.
Yeah, that's an interesting question actually, and probably something I don't know, like probably the exact answer of. But look, the thing is, we need to use AI at a certain, like, to a certain extent. It's just like the guardrails need to be there, right? No one really trusts AI as much, although it's getting better over time. But even like you see ChatGPT or whatever, they'll at the bottom they say this is an AI, like check important information. So we can't totally rely on AI. There has to be safeguards. What those safeguards are gonna be is I'm not sure about that. I feel like, but those, like when Uber or whichever company allows AI, they put those safeguards. The other thing is obviously we need to learn. This just not AI is not just prompting and like telling it what to do and stuff. Even in prompts, like people are coming up with like how you can prompt in a specific way. You can write your to Gemini or ChatGPT in a specific way that it will give you much better output. Give it more context and stuff. So all these things are important that we should learn at a basic level. But if you said like you come into an interview and I have to see how much AI skills you have, it's kind of hard for me to say. But then I saw this as well, for before AI, at least till 2020 or even 2020, maybe 2 or something like that. I don't know, still probably still as well. But that's where I saw lead code and all these were basically if you wanted to land a software engineering job, you had to do lead code, which is just like data structures, algorithms, all those questions that they might ask you in a coding interview. But I saw that Google is sometime soon gonna allow the participant or the interviewee to use AI tools in the interview. I feel like that they can then assess, once they do that, they can assess how much skills you have using AI. But that's something I heard. But we eventually had to go to that point. I mean, if you're saying let's say basic data structures and algorithms and stuff, if AI can do, I don't see why Google would want at some point, let's say maybe right now they do, but in let's say 5 years when the models are way more stronger than they are, I don't see why Google would want their interviewee to write a whole code about a data structure or something that AI can already do. Right now we are at a point where maybe AI is not as accurate, so we still want the person to know what's going on. But I feel like there's a dynamic shift here that's going to come sometime soon. Is what do you even expect for the person you're hiring to know? Do you want to know the crux of, do they have to know the crux of everything? Or if they just know the broader picture and know how they can use AI with the correct guardrails, that might be a better option. So I don't know what the criteria is, but I feel like the criteria is going to change for jobs.
Yes, I think so. And yeah, recently I just started, I haven't read it at all, but there's a report issued by, I think it's NASC something.
Okay.
I don't know the full from yet, but most of the employers are seeking AI skills in employees whoever come to apply.
Yeah.
The applicant, they're seeking to have some AI skills in them.
Yeah.
And I feel like AI is like, you can consider it a person. The long, as long like whatever the time amount of time you spend with the AI,
Yeah.
it will know about you and you will know about it, that how I can ask the right question. So it happens, I have experience. So if I have to ask something,
Yeah.
then it might not give the satisfying answer to me. Then later, okay, I think if I put this word, then it will know what I was asking.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think, yeah, so as much as we interact with it, we should keep, I think, one AI, just use one AI, personal AI, and keep more interaction with that. You can use multiple, but
Yeah.
give more interaction with that particular AI, and maybe you can master more
More of that.
right?
Yeah. 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 I see. And you basically mentioned like the prompting thing is definitely like what do you need to write to the AI for it to give you a correct response? Like there are like proper like YouTube videos on how to just like tell AI
Yeah.
like about your problem, because it's not like, you know, like can you tell me, you know, like about this is like you can even like I saw this. So like um, sometimes let's say you take like a couple of data sets or something and you want to analyze them this and that, and you like tell like AI to, you know, can you analyze these data sets? Fine, but what I've seen is like they say things like you are a data scientist. Like they're telling the AI that it's a data scientist, and you know all like the obviously the core principles of what a data scientist knows. Now tell me how you will analyze this data set. So, you know, like just adding that you're a data scientist. Sometimes, you know, I don't know, I've not tested it, but like that's what like people say. So prompting is big thing, and that's what you mentioned as well. I
Yes.
guess. Yeah.
I think it's helpful. Sometimes I have used like that, and also sometimes you have to understand any concept, and it's quite tough for me.
Yeah.
Hey, consider me as a 16-year-old kid. I want to understand this concept.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and yeah, the AI tries to make it more easier. Use some example that we face in our daily life.
Yeah.
Maybe it can use sofas, bottles, and these things, so we can relate it.
Yes. Yeah.
So it does. Okay, that's interesting talk on AI.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it wasn't like hopefully it wasn't too technical or like for or other like audience as well. So
Okay, Hassaan, as an international student ambassador, you help prospective students enroll at Tech. What is the number one piece of advice you give to incoming international students who want to be as successful as you have been? You are about to graduate and you have a job. That's like, I've seen a lot of students struggle
yeah.
to find a job, and you are, as I can see, you are well set up. So how
I
one
appreciate
can
that.
be successful as you have been?
So I guess I usually just tell them what worked for me. Doesn't need to work for everyone, and then obviously I give that disclaimer to everyone that, you know, I mean, might not work for you. Well, any advice is just because any advice someone gives you is just because it kind of worked for them and they think that will work for you. But in any case, I don't know if it will work. But like one of the things like we already talked about, like joining an association and working on those soft skills, maybe getting an on-campus job, you know, those things can definitely be helpful. But I would say we as international students sacrifice a lot, like, you know, moving away from family and coming across the world to the US. You know, most of us don't have anyone like any close relative here or anything. So you should, like, you know, think of why you came here, and most of people would say is like obviously for like education, right? So education should be your first like priority. Like I know when you come here it's like a new country, like, you know, like obviously very different from at least like from Pakistan and sure Nepal as well, where most of our students are from. So like, you know, I get that there's a difference, and you can maybe like you can enjoy life here and everything, but then I guess the reason you left everyone, your family, to come here all the way with all the struggles, with all the finance stuff that comes along with it, education was the main thing. So I would say focus on your grades, understanding concepts in your classes, but I guess people would say, oh, I'm giving a very generic answer. Everyone would say, like, like focus on your studies. That's very easy to say, but then it's very difficult to do sometimes as well. But what I saw was, if you can have your grades, like good grades and good, necessarily not good grades, but good concepts. Like if your concepts are clear, usually that leads to good grades. But let's say you have a very difficult major and the grades aren't coming, it's fine as long as your concepts are clear, because in a job interview, those things will, like, once your concepts are clear, no one's gonna, and like you'll clear the interview basically. So what I usually say is like, my advice is for the first 2 years, like just focus on your studies. If you like have an association that you can join, that's nice to get you those skills. If you have a job, that's good as well. In the communication stuff we talked about, that communication organizations and the stuff that helped me, obviously helped you probably as well. So those things are, I would say, probably kind of important, And once those 2 years are done, you can have, I feel like at the end of the 2 years, you have good grades, you have the soft skills from your job and stuff. You put your education first. That's the time usually where you can get internships then, after 2 years. Mostly, like, people can get any time, but like generically, that's when we get it. So by that time, your resume is perfect, almost perfect, right? And you can go in an interview being the best you could have done. And that's what worked for me, was like I pushed, like I gave like maximum effort that I could in the first 2 years, not later on as much. But what happens is, like, you do first 2 years, and your grades are good, then on basis of your grades and your concepts and your external projects that you did, you get the internship. Once you get the internship, the next thing is like maybe getting a job once you graduate, maybe converting that internship into a job. But when you want a job, people look at that internship more. See, they don't as much look at your association anymore or your grades anymore. They look at your internship now. So what I say is, like, 2 years of education, like focus on your education, that will lead to an internship, hopefully. That internship is, then you can maybe, kind of like maybe not put as much effort into those areas, into education and stuff. I'm not saying just throw everything away, but I'm saying you can put more effort into internship because your job is dependent on that internship then. So it's like a step-by-step process. So I know I kind of like talked long, but I guess the bottom line is, for the first half of your degree, focus on education, really important. Associations we mentioned, soft skills are really important in the US specifically. So maybe getting those, and just target an internship as quickly as you can get, probably.
I think that's really, for me, it gave a good blueprint. I think audience will love this too.
Yeah.
Focus on your education.
Yeah.
Involve in on-campus organization, build some soft skill.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it may lead to an internship.
Yeah.
Then you focus on internship, do your best.
Yeah.
And it may get you a job offer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind
Awesome.
of linked, right? So I mean, obviously it wouldn't work in
What-
all scenarios, but that's
This
what
is something that worked for you.
Yeah. So yeah, I can only give advice based on what worked for me. So
But that's really great.
Yeah.
And the connecting points, that sounds
Yeah.
so logical. And for me, students can really work on this path, and it could really help them. At least it will
Yeah.
build a good profile of them, and maybe employer see then, okay, this student seems good, have extracurricular activities, good grades, concepts.
yeah, and then like, I mean, I don't know what the generic on average what the mentality of students are when they come here. Maybe their final goal is to get a job once they graduate. Maybe some are looking for an internship. I feel like I would definitely recommend going for an internship soon as well, just because it financially helps you as well. Like, we international students, obviously we know finance is a big thing for us. So like landing that internship as quickly as you can, which I guess we can talk about the internship opportunities we have here as well, of how that can be something that students that come here can go for. But there's a big aspect of finance as well. Like, usually it pays at least like double the minimum wage or the wage you get at like a normal job, like a front desk or something. So it financially helps you too. So.
Great. So Hassaan, you are about to graduate. Looking back at your time since September 2022, what is the one thing you would have done differently to bring even more value to your undergrad experience? Is there something?
I've had a good time, definitely, but I would say probably, so when I joined like associations and stuff, and we talk about those soft skills that you get, I kind of liked like management, like aspect as well, like maybe tech management, maybe project management.
Some management skill.
Yeah, like as like and it kind of spurred from let's say event management that you do in your associations. You can convert that to project management as well, like certain skills, or event management can tell you whether that's something, whether you would like management or not. So that's something I discovered of like personally, that I kind of liked that. So maybe I think I could have probably done, let's say, a minor or something in like
this is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You are minor in something.
A minor in business, right? Like something. And I think like I watched like Saj's podcast, and he has a finance minor.
Minor finance.
And like sure that helps like a technical person bridge the gap between business and tech, like being able to communicate. Sometimes tech people aren't as good as communication like with with the business team that has to make the decisions. But if you can be a tech person and have those skills, you're very valuable. So usually people say like technical majors with like a paired with an MBA or something puts you in like a very niche category where there aren't many people that would have the tech skills but also be able to communicate. That kind of puts you in like a separate category. I wish, like, I don't wish, but like if like I had to add something to it, like probably a minor in like the business world. Yeah. So
wow,
what do you think about?
I think it would be a great addition in your profile or any student's profile.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay, Hassaan, tell me one of the best moment that you have at Louisiana Tech University in these 4 years. That makes you happy whenever you think about that.
There's been several ones, I guess. Getting my first job was one, because that was actually
which one?
The front desk one. Yeah. So I still remember I like went to Jay, who's the director over the office, and I was like I need a job, like please, like I hang out at the office, you know me and stuff. And then that was my first job ever, like in my life, like was the front desk job. So I didn't have any jobs back home, so that was good, like a good moment. Obviously the internship when I got was a good moment too. I feel like this year I was the president of the International Student Association. I think getting to do that was I feel like that was probably the biggest thing I'll remember. I feel like I guess it's not a moment, but it's like something I will still remember is like being able to kind of give a vision, or like like collectively give a vision for or represent international students was a big thing. And it's an association I was in freshman year and sophomore year, so I'm just glad I got to do that too as part of this degree. So yeah.
Hassaan, it's really great talking with you, and it feels like I'm continue talking with you.
Yeah.
Hassaan, we have talked about your journey from the front desk to engineering VR systems.
Yeah.
If a student is listening right now and they feel stuck at their own starting line, what's the one move they can make in the next 24 hours to change their trajectory?
Um, I would say probably, like, okay, back home, there's this concept of either you can be an engineer or a doctor or whatever. There's very specific fields you can go in, right? Which I guess parents sometimes, say that, but they also say it they're slightly right as well when they say it, because most of the jobs are just those back home. So when people are looking for, what do they want to do, like in the future, like as a student who wants to like see where they want to go for college and stuff, I feel like you should really look at something that interests you the most. Is very important, because you won't like doing something you're not, happy with, like a job that you're not happy with, and you wouldn't do great in it either, because if you look at the CEOs and these major co-founders and stuff, the one important thing that all of them have is that they love to do their work. Like, they are passionate about their work. So what I'm saying is, if you're passionate about your work, then you can do a lot of things in that field. But what I would tell the students is, check which field is for you, what interests you the most. I don't know if it's a 24-hour thing, but
I think that's a good thing to consider. So what they can do is that find their interest,
yeah,
and start working on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you mentioned, if someone is interested in any particular field, they don't need motivation.
Yeah.
They don't need other outside force to, hey, go and do this, go and do this. They will do it by themselves.
Yeah, and maybe there might be cases, you might have gone through this as well. I've certainly gone through it, where sometimes I think I'm not interested in anything, right? But like, some people have an obvious thing they're interested about, but there's always like, I guess, resources online, or people like career, like counselors, or like however, people that kind of maybe will give you a test or something, and you'll do about what things you like, and based on that it will tell you what field is good for you, maybe something like that. Some people have not come across something they like, so what do they do? So I feel like they can maybe, use those resources to find what they might be interested in. It's just like, you might be interested in something you maybe not know that you are. So, and I would say, when you're coming to America, right, like, you think about, we say back home, like, obviously things are getting better there as well, but like, people, there was used to be stereotype of parents saying, like, either be a doctor, engineer, or like, a lawyer or something. But this is America, and basically we say it's the land of opportunity, right? So that's because, like, whatever skill you have, whatever you're passionate about, you can make something from it, right, in America. So so students that are wanting to come to America, or Australia, Canada, wherever you're going abroad, just find something you like and get a degree in that, and don't like get a degree in something you won't as much like, because you wouldn't be as good in it, because you won't have the motivation to excel in that field. So talking about the CEO's example, of almost everyone loved their work, to the point that working hard is easier when you like something, right? When you're interested in something, right? So, and nowadays, man, like, I used to think, how our parents used to say, like, stop playing games and stuff, like, as if, like, obviously playing games wouldn't land you anywhere in life, really, I guess. But now it does. Like, you can launch a YouTube channel, and playing games, you can earn money as well. You can earn money, like, literally, you can have a good life doing anything, really. So any skill you have, even gaming. I'm saying gaming because at some point gaming was like this thing that stops you from having a good life or a stable life. But right now people do have that with YouTube and stuff. Well, I'm saying there's nothing you can't do and have a good income and whatever you're striving for. You just have to find that somehow, what interests you. And then just do hard work. If you like something, hard work will be easier to do.
I think you opened our audience eyes. Hassaan, in our last podcast with Saz, I talked about one of my friend let me talk a little bit more detail about that. I really wonder how that my friend found that what he is interested in, because a lot of individuals, they don't know in which field they are interested. I'm so wondered that how he found that he is interested in something, and he started to do that, but he didn't get support from his family.
Yeah.
Actually, he had started blogging, actually creating YouTube videos.
Okay.
He hacked the code how we can earn the money and make our living. Actually, to live a life, you need money, right?
Yeah.
And to earn the money, you need to do some sort of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if the work is you are passionate about doing that,
Yeah.
man, that's a win-win situation for you.
Yeah.
You are doing in which you are passionate, and you are earning from money, right?
Exactly.
And he cracked the code. He know in which thing he's interested, and he started doing that. I feel so sorry that he couldn't progress as he could have been by now.
Yeah.
It's of class 8.
Okay.
He was in class 8, and he started the thing from since long. I think it's for about 8 years.
Okay.
Time over 8 years.
Okay.
So I feel if he had got support from his family,
Yeah.
might be, I think he would be one of the greatest YouTuber from Nepal. We took a short break, and now we're back to our conversation. So Hassaan, I was saying that one of my friends from Nepal, he found his passion about doing videos, uploading it on YouTube, and be one of a famous YouTuber, contacting a huge amount of audience. But he didn't get the support from his family. He was told, focus on your academic, do your study. But my friend was more interested in doing that part. That is creating videos, uploading on YouTube, providing helpful information. He was more interested in that. What do you think about this? What's your take on that?
So there's definitely obviously back home parents are more concerned about what field their child is going into, because there aren't many fields, I guess, which you can have a stable career in. So what they do is they kind of move them, or they push their children to go for the major fields, basically. So but I guess their point is valid in its own sense, because we talked about advice, right? When we give advice, it's usually the thing that worked for us, or what, depending on what didn't work for us as well, and what we think could work. So back in, let's say, in our parents time, obviously if they went for blogging, they wouldn't have a successful career, because there wasn't YouTube or anything, right? So they, based on that, they might think that maybe in the current situation, maybe it's still not viable to go for blogging as much, or I'm saying blogging, but any other field, like music or art or something along those lines as well. But parents always want the best for you, but the advice they'll give you is from their experience. So it's always who's right, who's wrong. But usually also you need to see that world changes as well. We talked about computer science, Next.js and React, we're talking about that, and in the next 5 years they might not be a thing. Around 2018, 2019, no one knew that AI would no one knew what OpenAI was, although behind the scenes they were making ChatGPT and stuff. So we don't know exactly how things are gonna change, but we should be very familiar with the current situation. So currently there, with YouTube especially, and all those creator apps or content creation apps, it has opened lots of areas, avenues, where if people are passionate about certain things, they can do. Our parents always used to say, don't game a lot because you're impacting your career or your studies. But right now people are making a career out of the games.
Wow, earning a lot of money.
A lot of money on YouTube, right? And other platforms. So I mean, it's right now where we are going is you can almost talk about, or do anything that you want, and you can put it on YouTube that people might be interested in, and just you can make money off that. You can have a stable life of that. So I think it's right now we are in a situation where we should think more about what we are passionate about, because there's so many avenues that maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago never existed, right?
So it's not limited. There are
Is-
unlimited resources and field that where you can invent something and other
Yeah.
will follow your path.
Yeah, exactly, right. Because you for even for like again the example of games, no one thought that someone could make a career out of games,
Like
right?
playing games.
Right? But they do, because like like, and the target audience is like people like us that want to see someone else like playing a new game maybe, and maybe seeing whether we want to play it or not. So like if you have an audience, and well, in the content creation world, if you want to do something and you like, if you have an audience, you're good to go. But even in other fields, like there's so many fields opening up now that if someone is interested, they can go for. But it's just like, just go for something you're passionate about, is the advice we would probably give.
So from this podcast, I think student will really get an idea that how they can map their undergrad life, the 4 years,
Yeah.
focusing on education,
Mhm.
engaging in some activities, extracurricular activities, involving in on-campus organizations, and which can help them increase their chances of getting an internship and doing best effort, giving their best effort in internship, and that may lead to a full-time
Yeah.
job offer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, and like this podcast is obviously really really helpful in a sense that it's giving like roadmaps of what each student followed, which is not necessarily the same. Everyone took upon these 4 years in a different way, but it's still for the audience to see what things they could like pick and choose from, what things they they could work with. And I feel like that gives another dynamic to this, because usually we had ambassadors, which is still like, I feel like one of the best things actually at Tech. I felt before coming to Tech was like, oh, someone was like asking me whether I have any questions instead of me reaching out. So ambassadors definitely are there, but then this podcast is adding another dynamic of these students like you and me and like Saj, who have gone through this journey, or to a certain point we have come through, that we can tell our experiences. And I feel that gives a little bit more insight into what Tech is, and like how even before coming to Tech, how students can look out for certain things that they have to do or they might want to do based on our experiences. So I really appreciate that you have created this initiative.
Yeah, thank you so much. My purpose is to provide helpful information and help them to get resources, information that from which they can extract what could be helpful for me.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, it could be differ from people to people, but something can be, they can get an idea, okay, this I can do this by this way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's several people telling about what they did, something you might like, so you might want to do. So definitely it's good initiative, I feel like.
Okay, thank you so much, Hassaan, for coming and joining us today.
No problem, and it's my pleasure. And you're doing a great job with the podcast, so keep that up.
Thanks again.